Hello, in this video I am going to replace a high pressure power steering hose. If you're having any leakages or you have any noise coming from the power steering pump, this hose may be the issue. Other things can cause the power steering pump to make noise, so just make sure that this hose is the cause of the leak and noise. I saw that there was a leak coming from one of the hoses, the high pressure hose to be exact. I saw that there was power steering fluid leaking from the hose and dripping down to the power steering pump. It can be misleading because the leak can look like it's coming from the pump itself when it's not. This car model has 4 lines coming in and out of the power steering pump, and this car does have a hydraulic fan for the cooling system, and it is connected to the power steering pump. Before starting, you do need to remove the passenger side tire. So this is where the power steering pump is located. Because of the weird angle of where the bolt for the hose is, in order to remove it, I used a crowfoot wrench. After removing the bolt connected to the pump, I started to remove the other end of the hose connected to the other power steering line. It was difficult to remove the flare nut bolt, so I did use some penetrating fluid to try and loosen it. When removing the flare nut bolt, I used the vice grip to hold down the flare nut and leaned the vice grips against the firewall of the car. This is how it looks from underneath the car and under the car with the vice grips still attached. I used a wrench to also help loosen the bolt while the vice grips were still attached. This is how it looks from underneath the car and under the car with the vice grips still attached. I used a wrench to help loosen the bolt while the vice grips still attached to the flare nut. I used the wrench to turn the hose to loosen the bolt. I removed the vacuum hoses that connect to the high pressure steering hose. I feel it's best practice to label the hoses so that you won't forget which hose goes where. You're going to remove this vacuum unit later on, so labeling the hose as well as on the unit would be a good idea. After that, I just removed the bracket that holds the high pressure steering hose. The new hose I bought didn't come with the hose vacuum port, so I had to remove it from the original hose. I had to use penetrating fluid again to remove the vacuum port unit from the old hose because this part was pretty tough to remove. I used vice grips and an adjustable wrench to separate the vacuum port from the hose. Once the part is broken loose, I just twisted off the vacuum port unit from the hose by hand. And get the new hose and connect the part to the new hose. To tighten it, I did use an adjustable wrench again to do it. So once everything is attached to the new hose, I just installed it into the car. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.